So I was recently asked to sponsor a big Dungeons and Dragons tournament, and it's to support veterans who are suffering from PTSD, and I couldn't say no to anybody who's defended the world against conflict. And I put together these 4-player boxes, which are going to be for the winning team. Now, there's going to be 110 people at this tournament, so along with this, the organizer asked me to provide a big pile of business cards in case people who didn't win also want one of these boxes. So the subject of this video isn't the boxes. The subject of this video is how to make business cards in volume, because they want all of this by next week, and I don't have a whole lot of time. And I'm going to show you in this video how I changed my workflow for creating my metal business cards, and I can now do it much quicker than I did before. Hey, it's Steve here and welcome back to my shop. Now, I did a video a while ago on making metal business cards on a CO2 laser. And if you haven't seen that video, then click up in the corner here and go watch that. But then you're going to want to come back, because making business cards on a CO2 laser comes with a couple of problems. First of all, you need a big, expensive CO2 laser. Assuming you have one, though, you're going to realize that making cards on it is fairly slow. Now, I have maybe a day and a half to make 60 business cards, and I can't afford the time to sit and change cards a lot. So I need to find a better way and make these things really quickly. So what I did was I grabbed the xTool F1 laser off the shelf along with the slider for it. And I didn't talk about the slider in the previous video, so here I'll show you very quickly how to get it installed and calibrated. And then I'll create a jig specifically for the slider, which will allow me to make 6 business cards at a time. And then I'll make some cards, and this should be pretty quick. And as I mentioned, the first thing I need to do is get the slider installed. So I'm going to switch the laser from laser flat to laser extension, and you'll see the desktop changes there. Then I'm going to click this go button to start the calibration. I've already done the first 2 steps, which is basically getting the slider mounted. And then I'm going to hit this next step, and you'll see the slider moves to the right, sorry. And that allows us to tighten up the screw once we align that blue line to the ruler that's there, and tighten that up. And when we're happy, we can hit the next button again, and that will move to the other end so we can tighten the screw on the other side. And that's pretty much getting it set up. And all we have to do now is hit next once more, and that completes the calibration process. So that was pretty much real time, and it's really that simple. Now I'm going to design the jig, and I'm going to do it all in Lightburn. And you can see there's 2 layers here. If I just turn off the green layer for a second, this will be the back piece of the jig. This is going to be 2 pieces of 3mm plywood sandwiched together. So you can see it's just a rectangle with 6 holes in it, and those holes are for your fingers to make it easier to pull the cards in and out. And then if you want to build the front piece of the jig where the cards actually get inserted, you can turn on the green layer and then cut both of these together, and that will give you the top surface. Really that simple. I'm going to use my CO2 laser to cut this because I'm in a rush and a CO2 laser will be faster. But you can certainly use a diode laser. You probably can't use the diode laser in the F1 because this is very big. It's, well, let's see, it's 375 millimeters wide. So you're not going to be able to cut it on the F1. These green rectangles where the cards are inserted are very accurately equidistant apart, and that's so that when we run the job on XCS, it knows how far to move to get to the next position. And then I'll just shoot this over to my CO2 laser. I'm not going to bore you with the entire cut here. You can see it's just cutting out holes, and it'll cut out 6 of them, and the perimeter. And then I'll do the back, which will be the same with circles instead of the holes for the cards. And that'll be the jig pieces made. Okay, I have both jig pieces cut, and you can see how they're kind of going to go together there, but I need to glue it first, so I'm just going to drop a few dabs of Titebond 3 on it, and honestly any wood glue will work here. We're not worried about waterproofing or food safety or anything. And when I get the glue on there, I just can take a stir stick and smooth it out a bit. And then I'm going to put the 2 pieces together. Now we want this to be lined up fairly accurately, and you can use those finger holes as a key. And then I'm just going to tape it together and wait an hour, and that's really all that we have to do here. So the jig is made. Now you do want to make sure it's flat as well, so let the glue dry and make sure that the piece is flat as it dries. And with the tape removed, I can put this on the slider. Now you may notice that there's 7 card slots in mine. I actually measured it after, and I can only cut 6. But I just drop it on the slider, and it just fits in there square automatically. There's no targets or anything. Slide it in, put the clamps down a bit, and we're ready to go. We're ready to engrave cards. I'm back in XCS, and I want to do my layout now of my card. Now I'm only going to show you engraving on the back of my card. My cards are two-sided, and the reason is obvious. My phone number is on the front of my cards, and I don't need a billion people on YouTube phoning me at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'll rotate this because I'll have the 6 cards vertical, and then I'll move this down until it snaps to the center line. And I know that if I look at the ruler across the top of the slider, I can see the edge of this card starts at 12 millimeters. And then I can take this and I can copy it and paste it. And again, I'm going to move it till it snaps. And I, again, look at the ruler on the top, and I know the second one's 72 millimeters. And now I'll get really lazy. I'll copy 2 at a time and paste them. And I'll move over here, and I know the next one starts at 132. And one more paste. And I move it over here. And I know this one starts at 252. So there's our 6 cards, and we're ready to go on the print, but we need to set the settings first. Now there's 2 layers. There's a green layer and a black layer. The green layer is the outline of the cards, and we're not actually going to use that. So I'm going to select it. I could ignore it, but then it messes up the alignment in XCS because XCS isn't counting that, and we're using it as an index for alignment. So what I'm going to do is I'll set it to score and IR, and I'll go really low power at 1% and really high speed at 160. So it'll actually do the engrave, but it won't do anything. And then for the black layer, I want the black layer to be an engrave so that it's filled in. Again, IR, I'm going to go 100% power, and I'll go the speed. I could go to 160, which is the maximum, but sometimes I use different colored cards, and particularly gold cards can take a little more time to engrave. So I'm going to set this to 150, and that'll handle all my cards. So there you go. At this point, I could frame, and it'll show me where the first card starts, and it should fit into the slot in the business card jig. And then I can just hit start. And so I'll go do that, and I'll show you what it looks like. So I won't show you the full engrave here, but I did want to show this to you in real time. And you can see the card previous to this one and this card. And when this card is done, it magically just jumps to the next position and starts engraving in exactly the right place. So very easy. The jig is very simple to create and align on the slider. And xTool honestly did a wonderful job at making my life easy to get these 60 cards done in probably what'll take a few hours at the most. So big relief for me, because I would have been looking at days if I was still using my CO2 laser. So after that test run, I pulled the cards and had a look at them, and the output, as you can see, looks absolutely spectacular. And I'm very happy, and I'll get my job done in time. I'll put affiliate links to everything in this video down below: the laser, the slider, the metal business cards that I used. Now, what made all of this possible is that xTool F1. If you're interested in seeing what I thought of that, click the video up above here now and go watch that next. And I'll wind this down, so get out there, make your world, and I'll see you next time.